I am joined by Matt Struthers, who is a crop extension specialist with the government of Saskatchewan. Matt, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect, awesome. So this heat wave that we're in has really been a scorcher. It's been hard for a lot of people. It's a lot harder for farmers. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, this heat it's crazy. I hate it. I'm not very good with the heat, but neither are crops. So right now, crops are just pretty much at a standstill. You know, when it's 30 degrees, even like 28 degrees and up or 27 degrees and up, they don't grow. They just sit there and they wait, and all they're doing is waiting for it to cool down. But unfortunately, that's not on the forecast, and it's not coming anytime soon. So all they're doing is waiting, and they're using up the water that they have available to them in the soil, which right now, again, is not very much. So then we're going to start seeing things happen. Like canola is bolting and flowering already, and that's because it knows that it's quite stressed out and it wants to rapidly mature. But in that heat, those flowers, they won't survive, and so those would-be seeds or would-be pods full of seeds are going to abort, and that plant will have wasted that energy. Same with any crop that would start flowering in this heat. They're likely to lose most of those flowers. That's just going to set that crop back. And then, of course, if the heat stays for, this week and fall or, future weeks without any breaks or any rain, then we're going to see some crop damage and death just due to just no moisture.
And you said crops kind of start or stop growing at around the 28 degrees. We're seeing highs in like the 36, 37. What's happening to crops at that extreme of a level?
Well, they totally stop photosynthesis, and then they do everything in their power, which isn't much for a plant. But they just try to conserve as much moisture within their cells as they can. But like you said, yeah, when it's 37 degrees outside and you're in your heat all day long, you can only do that for a couple days. And then another concern is even the nighttime temperatures aren't that low themselves, and the crops just aren't getting a break. So really need the heat to break and get some cooler temperatures and some rains.
Absolutely. And we're seeing the long temperatures last all the way, or the high temperatures last all the way basically up until the start of next week. At what point are we reaching the point where the crops just can't come back from this, where they've been exposed to too much heat?
That's tough to say. It depends on the crop and depends on the stage of crop. If the crop is much smaller, it's probably if it's too small, it probably would just be hurt too much to come back. The plants that are flowering out right now, they might be well enough advanced, even if those flowers are killed off, that they might have a chance to come back. It's all about crop stage. Soil texture plays a large part too. If you have a heavier soil that conserves more moisture, you're better off than the fields that have sandier textures and just can't hold that moisture. Those crops will really struggle to beat the heat and to stay alive through this.
Is there anything that farmers can do to help mitigate the pains, or is it just kind of sit back and watch Mother Nature do its thing?
Unfortunately, I wish we could turn the taps on and turn the thermostat down, but we can't. The only things that farmers really could do is, time of seed, seeding times, which they've already done, right? You seed at the right time to make sure your crops aren't going to get in the heat. But it's Saskatchewan, it's Canada. Every year is a bit of a gamble and a bit of a challenge. So yeah, no, unfortunately, they just have to sit back and wait. And yeah, I mean, besides putting a tarp over everything, which isn't going to happen, yeah, there's nothing to do.
And I know we're moving into a little bit of cooler temperatures at the start of next week with some rain. So I know a lot of farmers are going to be sitting there hoping that this heat doesn't hurt too much of their crop. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, I really hope it comes. I really hope. I got my fingers crossed.